August 9th, we're going to have a full moon in the visionary, independent, but also collaborative, let your freak flag fly sign of Aquarius. There are 8 planetary conversations going on during this full moon. This is going to make it super activating. Some of these planetary conversations are going to be quite supportive, and others are going to be, I think, truly challenging. We could feel like we're being spun through the cosmic car wash, but the goal of this full moon is to free us to claim and embody our full, authentic expression, to become more true to who we came here to be. And all of this is what I'm excited to break down for you in this video, because it's the nuances of what's going on during this full moon that help us to see how we can navigate the energies. That's part 1 of this video. And in part 2, as always, I'll do readings for all 12 signs, letting you know where this full moon is happening for you in your natal astrology chart based on your rising sign. And I will also pull an oracle card for each of the 12 signs as well. If you have just found the channel, I'm very glad that you're here. It's my intention to build a like-minded community where we can support one another. And I love helping to inspire and empower you through Western tropical astrology. For those of you who resonate with being highly sensitive, empathic, on a spiritual path, or on an ascension journey, you are in the right place. Take a moment right now to tap the subscribe button and the notification bell as well, so you don't miss a video. Welcome back to those of you who watch my videos, who have subscribed. I love that you're part of this community. And for anyone who doesn't know me, I'm Betsy Gutting. I am a psychic astrologer, intuitive life coach, and author, and I do astrology consultations. I'll share more about my astrology consultations and my coaching offerings at the end of this video, and I have a free gift for you. So stay tuned to the end to find out what that is and how you can get it. And if you'd like to receive my weekly inspirational astrology updates and receive your free gift instant download at the same time, go to my website, sign up for free, and you will receive all of that. Of all the moon cycles, from the dark moon where it's invisible, you can't see anything, to the full moon is the most palpable feeling on a human level. And of course, this is because we see this bright orb of light in the sky and it pulls us in, right? It's very magnetic. There's also a feeling sense, though, with a full moon, a feeling sense of something is about to shift or pop. Full moons bring endings, they bring culminations, they bring full circle moments. They can bring something to fruition, they can show us a manifestation. So emotionally, we're talking about the spectrum of releasing and letting go of something. That can be grief and disappointment, all the way to feeling over the moon, as we say, elation, excitement, because something's manifesting. But also the brightness of the full moon, it often illuminates something for us. It brings a truth to the surface. Now, during every full moon, the moon and the sun are opposite each other on the zodiac wheel, and that represents you and the other. This is why we feel them most palpably in our relationships. They feel more emotional. Our emotions have been building up throughout the entire moon cycle, and now they're ready to be released. During this full moon, we have the sun in confident, courageous, let me show you what I can do, Leo, fire energy, opposite the moon in future focus, cosmically attuned Aquarius, which is air energy. Fire and air spark each other. And because Aquarius is highly creative and it's very inventive, what gets sparked could feel like an exciting new idea, something you can innovate, or a brand new fresh start. It could feel like you are becoming new again. And I'm going to tell you more about that when we get to the aspects, the planetary conversations going on. But first, the timeline of this full moon. This full moon cycle actually started way back 6 months ago when we had the new moon in Aquarius, and that was January 29th of 2025. So you can look back to January 29th and ask yourself, what was I seeding for intentions at that time? What was important to me? What did I want to get going for this year? Because that was the new year, really. A lot has gone on since January 29th, the new moon in Aquarius, and where we are in present time. This being the year of several planets in new signs. Saturn and Neptune are now in Aries, Jupiter is now in Cancer, and Uranus is now in Gemini, really electrifying and helping us to bring about cosmic change, planetarily speaking, and within each of us individually. You could also feel this full moon as a mini culmination of the Leo new moon that we just had on January 23rd, which was opposite Pluto retrograde. So that was an intense full moon for many of you. And this one is going to have its own level of intensity as well. So what themes might you feel during this Aquarius full moon? It's a fixed air sign. Fixed is I want to maintain things the way they are. But it's air, which is communication and conversations and being social and really downloading those ideas from the divine, from the cosmic intelligence, from the field of all possibility. And Aquarius rules air travel. And of course, now there's an airplane flying above me as I'm saying this. But even though the fixed nature of Aquarius can make it a bit resistant to change, it's a visionary sign. So it is future focused. We are meant to look toward the future during this full moon. Some of you may notice, you could have noticed this before this full moon, during Leo season or even before that you are no longer content holding yourself back at all, worrying about what other people think. This full moon wants to help us to release the messages that many of us got from our conditioning that have held us back. If you know that famous Anna East Nin quote, and the day came when the risk to remain tight in a bud was greater than the risk it took to blossom, that's what's coming to me right now. We are ready to blossom more fully. And it's also notable that this is the last full moon before eclipse season begins. We're in the eclipse portal right now. Not only this, but we will have had the 8/8 Lionsgate portal one day before this full moon. So this full moon is already in that abundance, freedom, claim your power, let your Leo lion roar out. We're already in that energy the day before this full moon. And you could have started to feel that during the Leo new moon. There is a clear invitation here to honor your natural desire to express your natural exuberance or frustration. You know, there's a thing that we call righteous anger that's important to express constructively, not lashing out at other people, but realizing sometimes when we're angry or frustrated, we realize where we've allowed situations, relationships, whatever, to hold us back. And this full moon is saying it's time to change that. It's time to give ourselves the freedom to change that. Aquarius also has a humanitarian ethic. What is best for the group? What's best for the community? What's best for everyone? But it's really interesting because it's also very independent. Think outside the box. Question authority if the rules don't make sense. Allow yourself to be unconventional. And again, this is the direction that our future self is pulling us toward. When I was tuning into the energy of this full moon, I got the message that there's no going back. We have already shifted into a new timeline, and if you haven't felt that, you may very well feel it on this full moon. The eclipse portal, the Lionsgate portal. Portals are energetic openings to move into a higher consciousness. And because Uranus is now in Gemini and Uranus is a co-ruler of the Aquarius full moon, Uranus's electrical energy combined with the Aquarian electrical energy. This is ascension. This is moving into this higher vibration. And it's important for us to remember that this is challenging to our human selves because this electrical energy, first of all, we really have to ground the energy to be able to assimilate it. That's what's going on too. We have to integrate this energy. And meanwhile, we're looking out to the outer world and we're seeing a lot of craziness, right? It only takes one politician to say something shocking or some media headline to make the stock market go wildly up or wildly down. That's communication energy, and that's Aquarius too. Both Aquarius and Gemini energy, where Uranus is, they rule social media. So there is a lot of noise in the collective. There will probably be even more noise in the collective during this full moon. It can be very distracting, and that is why I encourage all of us to keep our eye on the prize, to keep our eye on our own future directed course, rather than to let that outer noise impact you emotionally, take you off your course. Because what do we create with? We create with our intention, we create with our heart. I share this in my book, The Magic of Saying Yes, that the heart has a magnetic force field 5,000 times greater than our intellect. And this equates to the Aquarian energy, which in the tarot is the star card. And the star is a wish fulfilled. The star is keep your eye on the stars. Keep your eye on the part of you that is made of stardust, your galactic self. The Aquarian star card energy also represents renewal, hope. And I love this, feeling blessed after a turbulent time. So this is something we can all claim for ourselves. I am blessed after a turbulent time. So who will most feel this full moon in Aquarius? It is happening at 17 degrees, 16 degrees, 59 minutes. We'll round up to 17 this time, 17 degrees of Aquarius. Wherever you have 17 degrees of Aquarius in your natal astrology chart, this is the place that you are going to experience this full moon, and I'm going to share with you where that is based on your rising sign in my 12 sign readings. If you have planets or points between 13 and 21 degrees, 13 to 21 degrees of Aquarius, or the other fixed signs of Leo, Scorpio, or Taurus, you will feel this full moon more intensely. Also, if you have planets or points between 0 and 2 degrees, possibly 3 degrees of any of the signs, you may feel this full moon more intensely as well. Why do I say this? Because we have planetary activations, which I'm about to share with you, involving Pluto in Aquarius, a fixed sign. Mars, Saturn, and Neptune in Aries, that brings in the cardinal signs, and Uranus in Gemini, that brings in the mutable signs. 0 to 2 degrees of any sign, you may also feel this full moon on a personal level. Why personally? Because there is an activation. For those of you who have planets or points between 0 and 2 degrees, there's an activation happening that could be for you a new vision, a new chapter, or a new level of your soul's evolution, a leveling up, so to speak, on an evolutionary soul growth level. And given this, we're all going to feel this full moon collectively. So let's talk about those planetary conversations that I brought up in the opening of this video. These are important because they tell us the storyline of this full moon and how we can best work with the energies. And we want to start with the ruler or rulers of the full moon because they carry weight. What's going on with the ruler? Now, in this case, Aquarius has two rulers, Saturn and Uranus. Saturn is, what are the rules? Are we being restricted? Is there an authority figure talking to us? What work is going to be involved? What structure, foundation are we building here? How are we trying to make something real? And Saturn can be a delay or a no, or someone asserting their power. Uranus, on the other hand, doesn't care what the rules are. Uranus says, if the rules don't make sense, I'm going to break those rules. How can we innovate something new? How can we get around that authority figure if they're in our way? Uranus will break up that stagnation of Saturn if necessary. And we have a very challenging aspect during this full moon of Mars in Libra opposing Saturn in Aries. Saturn is retrograde, so it's more internal, but its job right now, Saturn's job, is to work with Neptune, also in Aries, to make our vision, our dream, our new chapter, whatever's most important to our hearts right now, whatever you really want, my friend, Saturn's job is to help make that real. Now, Mars is in Libra. Libra is another air sign. Libra says it has to be fair, it has to be balanced. What's good for the family, the partnership, the group. We all have to pull our weight. Mars in Libra is coming along and opposing Saturn and saying, potentially saying, something has to give here. Mars in Libra wants justice. Mars in Libra wants to make things right on a karmic level. And so that is very much, I think, what many of us may feel. It could be that a relationship in your life that you consider karmic comes up for you and you are in conflict with one another. You're butting heads. Someone is trying to push another one, you or the other, to do something that doesn't feel in integrity for you. Or because Saturn is retrograde and Mercury is retrograde too, it could be that someone from your past, like a past ex or a past employer, or just somebody that your soul signed up to learn from on a karmic level, those karmic soul lessons, right? It could be that person now asserting themselves, or you asserting yourself with that person, which for some of you is going to mean setting a clear boundary. And because Saturn and Neptune are in Aries and Mars is opposing both of them, this could be quite a frustrating, or even one of those moments where you feel very triggered emotionally. Like, have you ever had a moment where you even have to catch your breath because it's such an instinctual, almost like a PTSD kind of feeling? That could happen during this full moon. But what we're meant to do is to pause and stop, stop and take care of yourself. Take those deep breaths. Feel through the fear that's coming up, often it's fear, or any other negative emotions, to really take time to take care of you. Not react with the other person. Take space if you need to. Because I believe this full moon is helping us to release an imprint, childhood conditioning, that causes us to have these emotional responses, these emotional triggers. It's almost like we're being tested by Saturn to see, will you have your own back? Will you set a boundary? Will you do the emotional nurturing of yourself if you get triggered? Will you calmly but firmly say what you need to say to the other person if you haven't said it before, if you haven't stood up for yourself? Will you stand up for yourself this time if it feels like a safe space? And I know that it doesn't always. And Mars opposing Neptune retrograde could be the rose-colored glasses come off, or somebody disappoints you, or you are very motivated to go straight to your spiritual source, Neptune. That's your vision. That's what your heart most wants. Maybe Mars, because Mars is our, true desire and our mojo and our motivation. Maybe Mars, if you're not having it out with another person, or another person isn't triggering you, maybe it's within you. And Mars is, Mars, I'm getting an image right now of a rocket ship. Like, Mars could be that rocket ship that is sending you straight to Neptune to receive Neptune's unconditional love, that ability that we have to merge with the divine and fill up with ease and grace and be soothed. The shadow of Aries energy, where Saturn and Neptune are retrograde in this fiery energy, which is the I am, this is what I want. Remember, Mars in Libra is like, what do we want? What's good for the relationship, the partnership? But we have to keep our integrity with our Saturn, Mars, Neptune dream. We have to keep that integrity because that's the I am. That's our new identity that we are shining our light in the direction of, that we're going toward. That's our future self pulling us forward. We can't compromise what we know we need to accomplish our dream. The shadow side of Aries, though, is I have to perform well. I have to be the best. I have to prove that I'm worthy to exist. That's the shadow of Aries. And that is what we are meant to release during this full moon. In the famous book, The Four Agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz, one of the four agreements is always do your best. But our best is different each day, right? And those of us that push ourselves to always do our best or better, you could feel like everything I do has to be excellent. To keep the security that I have around me, to be liked, to be appreciated, I always have to reach the same level of performance. Well, that is being challenged by this full moon, because it's not sustainable, Saturn. We are human, we have human bodies, our energy levels fluctuate, our hormones, male or female, they fluctuate. So this full moon is saying, you have this wonderful goal, that's great, I support you, now lie down and take a nap. Now, what is so interesting and what I love about these planetary conversations is that while Mars is challenging Saturn, Mars is challenging that, at the same time, Mars is having incredibly supportive conversations with Uranus in Gemini, the Great Awakener, and Pluto retrograde in Aquarius, the Great Detoxifier. Mars is making trines to both Uranus and Pluto. So clearly, there are other options here. If you find yourself back in the same karmic loop with yourself, maybe it's not another person, maybe it's happening within yourself. But if you are finding that you are stuck, or someone saying no or whatever, look to Uranus in Gemini and Pluto retrograde in Aquarius to help you see your other options. Uranus in Gemini is saying there are workarounds, there are other solutions. For example, if you don't have the money for something, rather than going to that person who doesn't want to give it to you and maybe re-entangling yourself in a karmic loop with them, consider another way to raise that money, such as a Kickstarter, for example. Mars trining Pluto is very empowering. Mars and Pluto, these are super empowering energies, passionate. A trine is passionate energy. A trine to Pluto retrograde feels to me like a second chance at something. And the three of these, Mars, Pluto, and Uranus, they make a grand trine in air. So lots of conversation, lots of back and forth social activity, and very creative energy during this full moon. Mars trine Uranus is a reminder we can't solve the problem at the level of the problem. We can't solve a problem if we're in the same energy that created it. We have to go higher. We have to go to that higher consciousness, maybe through prayer, maybe through automatic writing, maybe through journaling, maybe through saying, Spirit, show me my options, show me a way around this. How can I get my needs met? This grand trine in air is the frequency of divine love. It is the frequency of, I know who I am. I know that I'm a spirit of pure love. I know what I'm here for. And if I don't know exactly what that looks like, that's okay. It's enough to know that you want to be swimming in the energy of your pure love spirit. So my friend, be open to insights during this full moon because we could be getting them. I just heard the word yowza, and that's a good yowza. Like, be open to, I'm seeing a lot of sparkling energy right now. And Uranus brings things in quickly. The pace picks up. This is going to be a fast-paced ascension full moon. Ascending, we are going to the higher vibration, but that also means that our bodies have to integrate those energies. So if you feel extra tired, if you need more downtime, sometimes we even get sick. Not saying that anyone's going to get sick, but sometimes we get a cold, something happens, we get a stomach upset. I don't want to put that out there, but I'm only saying it because if you feel that way, our bodies sometimes choose to purge the old energies that we're releasing through a physical something. And I also want to make everyone aware that you could have some dark fears coming up during this full moon. Why? Because Black Moon Lilith in Scorpio is going to square the full moon. This is actually the only aspect that is being made directly to the full moon itself. But Black Moon Lilith is a potent energy. This is the darkness, Black Moon Lilith. Lilith represents our unconscious fears. It's very similar to Pluto energy. Obviously, it's a very different energy, but it's often experiences that we had in past lifetimes that we never processed, and those emotions come back in so that we can clear them, so that we can release them from our physical body, but they do need to be released. And this is why I'm a big proponent of things like tapping, EFT tapping, because that helps us to clear the energy out of our physical body. And a Black Moon Lilith aspect rarely plays out in reality, but it does show us what has to be processed. We can't spiritually bypass it. And we have active imaginations, right? So your imagination can come up with a whole story that feels absolutely terrifying and real at the same time, but it's like a bad dream from a past life that is meant to be cleared. Now, Mercury retrograde is going to make an opposition to Pluto retrograde. So we've got Mercury retrograde, Pluto retrograde. They are at a standoff, so to speak. They are opposite each other. Again, often this is two people, you and somebody else. Somebody speaking something, writing an email, saying something that feels inflammatory to you. It could feel shocking. This is Pluto. Pluto wants us to detoxify, set clear boundaries, not allow other people to mistreat us, to dishonor us. We want to be treated with respect. So the antidote here, if this comes up for you, and of course I hope it doesn't, but if it does, the antidote is to set a self-respecting boundary. In the collective, we can expect more shocking or truths revealed. That's Pluto. The truth comes out. We can expect more of that through the media, through social media, from politicians or other figures that are in the limelight, so to speak. Now, Mercury is going to turn direct. It's going to station direct 2 days after the full moon on August 11th. So we could have this truth, whatever truth is revealed with this Mercury-Pluto opposition. It could be something that really moves us forward. It can be a wonderful insight. And overall, we're getting tremendous support from several outer planets that are making what we call a minor grand trine. Saturn retrograde, Neptune retrograde, Uranus in Gemini, which is direct, Pluto retrograde. All of these energies are forming a harmonic vibration. And I see this harmonic vibration as a triangle that is purple, green, and pink. Those are the colors that I saw, these fluorescent colors. And it's forming a stable foundation, an energetic foundation for all of us, for the planet, as we go through these tremendously shifting times. It's anchoring us, is what I feel. And this may soften any of the more challenging transits that I just spoke about. It may soften all of this energy because it does want to support us. And not only this, also during the full moon, this is the last one I'm going to tell you about, then we'll do the 12 sign readings. Not only this, we have Jupiter, which is exalted in Cancer, conjunct Venus in Cancer, the two benefics. They are only 3 degrees apart, and Jupiter conjunct Venus is one of the most beautiful transits that we could have. It is super expansive. Venus is all the things that we want on a human level. The deliciousness of life, beauty, pleasure, finances, feeling loved, loving others. The love is flowing. And what's really cool is not only are Jupiter and Venus conjunct, but the star Sirius is also conjunct Jupiter and Venus. And the star Sirius is associated with enlightenment, success, material success, wanting to be recognized and getting that, and also leadership. So the image that I got of Sirius, which is associated with the star dog, it's called the star dog. I see it as a wolf. And the image that I got was a wolf, a proud wolf, confident, courageous, howling at the moon in all of its full unbridled expression, which is what this full moon wants us to do, to unleash our inner wild self. So that, my friend, we can truly shine our authentic light and share what we came here to share and receive the blessings that we are meant to receive. Let us do the 12 sign readings now. Listen to your rising sign. This is the area of your natal chart corresponding to the area of your life in which you will experience this full moon in Aquarius, but also listen to your sun and moon signs for further intuitive messages and themes. And we're going to start with Aquarius because beautiful Aquarius, this is your full moon. It is happening in your first house. The first house of you. What does this mean? This means with a full moon, which brings culmination, something full circle, something ending. Oftentimes it is a graduation from something that you've done. It is a change in a role. It is new idea that's taking you into a new place, a new journey. It could be a physical place. The thing is with a full moon in the first house is it can affect any area of our life. It's on an angle of your chart. So this means that the other angles of your chart are often affected as well, often bring new, an ending and a new beginning, or it can be a manifestation. It can be that, for example, a relationship that started maybe during the new moon or maybe earlier, it doesn't always happen around the new moon time, but it could have, and that was the beginning of this year. It could be that is now, going to the next level. Or it could be that a relationship that was started years ago is you guys are going your separate ways. It could be that as well. Because it's roles, and we all play so many different kinds of roles in our personal lives and in our professional or work lives, because of that, or with, family, as parents, as children, as aunts or uncles or sisters, brothers, all these things, because it's a role that can play out in a lot of different ways, right? That can play out through your work or it can play out through a relationship. But keep in mind that the sun is across from you in Leo in your 7th house. That's where the sun is transiting. So here's you, Aquarius, the first house of this is my identity. These are the things I do. This is what's important to me. This is what I came here. That's the first house. Your rising sign is what you came here to express, to learn about yourself. You know, the first house, your rising sign is very connected to your identity and what your soul wanted to grow into in this lifetime. Now, across from your first house during this full moon, we've got the sun transiting in your 7th house saying, look over here at me, look over at your relationships. What's going on in your relationships? And of course, you'll know during a full moon like this, which I go into all the specifics of in the first part of this video. Please go back and watch that if you haven't already, Aquarius, because this is your full moon. And there are a lot of nuances. There are both challenging transits going on during this full moon and very supportive ones. So it's going to be very activating, especially if you have planets or points around that 17-degree point. That is where this full moon is happening. But in your 7th house, the sun transiting there, whatever happens for you definitely could have to do with a relationship. Or maybe you are ending a job, you're starting a new job, you're ending if you were volunteering, maybe you're ending that. Maybe you're starting a business or selling a business. You get the idea. I have been shuffling for you and a card flipped over for you, Aquarius. So this is your card. When cards flip, I know that they're the divine saying, choose me. And this is really interesting because the message is connectivity. And that's very much you, Aquarius, connecting with others. And it's number 32, which reduces to a 5, which is change, transformation, freedom. And it's the jeweled web. This is such a gorgeous card. If you look closely, all the emerald green energy takes us to our hearts. There is it almost looks like a starfish to me, but it may not be a starfish. It could be a dragon. It's going to look different to everyone, but there are all these jewels. It almost looks like all of these jewels are hanging on a tree, or it could be fireflies. But what it's saying to me is, this is the matrix, the divine matrix. The divine matrix is a jeweled web. We are all connected. Aquarius, that's your energy. We are all connected. And you are being summoned, I believe, to open your heart, to be aware of the jewels. And you could experience this through a guided meditation. I feel like this card is saying, open up, if you haven't already, to the fact that you are connected in this divine matrix, and that all of your thoughts, your actions, your desires, what you don't want, it's all streaming through the wires, the lines, the communication lines of this divine matrix. I know this is really deep, but this is what I'm getting. You'll have your own sense of this. The jeweled nature of it is abundance. The jeweled nature of it is to remind you that you are a jewel, that you are a gem, that you are a star in, the galactic connectivity. And that this connectivity, I'm also now feeling this electricity running through. That this is partly what's fueling you and fueling your desires. And it could be that it's saying, reach out to other people and know that you're all connected, but also be aware of your thoughts and be aware of the energy and the intentions that you have, that make sure they're supportive of what you desire. So if you want to claim your connectivity or anything else you want to share, beautiful Aquarius, in the comments below, let me know. I would absolutely love to hear. Capricorn. Hello, beautiful Capricorn. Capricorn, you are going to experience this full moon in Aquarius in your 2nd house of earned income. This is the house of not just income, but material security, your possessions, everything that makes you feel like, the roof over your head, everything that makes you feel that you have your material needs met. It's also the house of self-love, your values, aligning your life with your values, feeling like you are worthy of what you deserve, what you want to earn, for example, because it is the second house earned income. It's how we earn our living, and it's self-reliance. We are meant to be self-reliant in this self-reliant in the energy, whatever the energy of the second house is. And for you, your second house is, of course, Aquarius. So this is where the full moon is happening for you, which tells me that the themes that I just mentioned will very likely be up for you in some way, shape, or form. You could be releasing an income. You could be changing how you make your money. Some of you could be retiring. You could be selling a possession or buying a possession. You could be doing some shadow work on inner child conditioning to up-level your self-worth. You could be tuning into the divine and receiving the unconditional flowing love into every cell of your body to or releasing an imprint of childhood conditioning that said that you weren't more worthy. I do have a meditation for you that you can get for free and play over and over, download on my website by going to my website and signing up to get my free inspirational astrology updates each week, which is usually just one email a week, but I give you the astrology of the week in written form. And I love doing those articles for you. And then you'll get your instant download meditation. I mentioned that because in that meditation, I have you meet up with your spiritual guides and receive that divine love. And that can be just exactly what we need at different times, right? We could use that every day, a lot of us. Now, Capricorn, across from your second house where the moon will be, the sun will be in your 8th house. So really this full moon, all full moons, they operate on an axis of 2 houses. For you, it's the 2nd and 8th house, which is financial. And it is also, the 8th house brings in what I would call long-term assets, like investments, retirement funds, real estate, but it's also money and help from others, financial help from others, how you share your time, money, and resources with other people, and emotional and sexual intimacy. So it's the house of emotional attachments, power, and control, because all of these things are things that we really want to have and keep. We don't want anyone messing with these things that we have, right? It's why if you do have money invested in the stock market, why our emotions can really fluctuate when the stock market fluctuates. Not everybody, I know not everybody. I will admit that I can be a bit of an emotional investor. I blame that on my Cancer moon. My Cancer energy does not want, but that's the game. The stock market, yes, it's going to fluctuate, obviously. But what I want to say for you is that expect that this could be a transformational feeling full moon, because the 8th house is that house of power and control. It is where we transform. It is the house of death and rebirth. It can bring lots of amazing things. It can bring, financial support into your life. You could pay off a loan or a debt. You could buy or sell a home. You could deepen your intimacy with another. You could also divide up your stuff during a full moon that is connecting to the 8th house. But the sun is here. So the sun could also be a client that is, your time is up with that client and a new client comes in. Maybe you're creating space for more money to come in different ways. You're creating space for clients that are no longer need your services or in alignment with you anymore to flow out of your life, so new energy can flow in. So Capricorn, remember that a full moon is an ending, culmination, or manifestation along the lines of these themes that I just went into. So let us shuffle, and I did go into a lot more juicy information about this full moon and really what it's calling us to, how it's calling us to transform. This is really big picture about authenticity and full self-expression. So for some of you, you could also get a feeling that I want to let my inner child out more. I want to allow myself to express. I want to make money doing what I love. I want to bring more passion into my working life where I am, bringing money in. I want it to be more in alignment with my true authentic self. That could be something too, or maybe you want to express that more with a partner. Okay, so Capricorn, let's pull a card for you. Capricorn, Aquarius full moon. Ooh, I love this. I love this card. The Fool's Embrace, the Fool in the Tarot. I'm going to show you this card in a moment, but first I want to say this. The Fool in the Tarot is the part of us that is meant to say yes to something that we don't know yet. When we're saying yes, we don't know. Can I be successful at this? The Fool is fully driven forward by inspiration. This is saying embrace your inner fool and let yourself take a risk. And the card's message is transmuting pain. We see this full moon. It actually looks like an eclipse to me. It looks to me like a lunar eclipse. We're going to have a lunar eclipse early September, September 7th. Lunar eclipse in Pisces, which I will do a separate video on. But right now we're in the eclipse portal. Capricorn, we're in the eclipse portal now. Why? Because we feel eclipses 4 to 6 weeks before they actually happen. And so either during this full moon or around this time of the lunar eclipse in Pisces, you could go through a process of transmuting pain. Transmuting pain is very much connected to 8th house energy. The 8th house is the house of transformation. That's what happens when we transmute pain, right? So if anything comes up, especially because of the Black Moon Lilith square that I talk about in part 1 of this video. You can go back and get more on that. You know, there are so many aspects that are potentially challenging us during this full moon. Mars opposing Saturn, Mars opposing Neptune in the cardinal signs, your cardinal, you could feel that. What is it wanting us to do? It's wanting us to become very fiercely honest with ourselves about what we need to hold, protect, boundaries, what we need to hold and protect as part of the new dream that we are moving into. So beautiful, Capricorn, allow any feelings that you're feeling to be transmuted from pain into passion. Embrace the Fool on the starting line. Look at all the creative energy. Look at all the colors. This is so Aquarian and Leo-like, all the colors. Very, very, makes me want to get my colored pencils out and draw. Very much a, gosh, what are the words? It just feels very galactic. Look at all the galactic energy in the sky. Get on the starting line. Be ready. Look at your spiritual royalty here in this crown. Be ready to take off. Embrace your inner fool. Because no one knows how things are ever going to play out. Especially when the Fool has the courage to go for something that it hasn't done before, to step into that new territory, which is what Saturn and Neptune together in Aries are telling us, guiding us to say yes to. Beautiful, Capricorn, if anything that I shared with you resonates and you want to share in the comments, I would love to hear. Sagittarius, Sagittarius, beautiful Sagittarius. Beautiful Sag. This full moon for you is happening in your 3rd house of communication and mindset. The 3rd house is the house of moving and shaking, where we do our transactions, sign leases, heal relationships with aunts, uncles, cousins, extended family, siblings, neighbors, landlords, where we can have run-ins with these people too, of course. Like, the conflict can be real. And this is a full moon in which, you know, I'm not going to go through the aspects again, the transits that are happening, because I do that in the first part of this video, but this is one that has some challenging aspects. But I also share how you can work through those. So go back and watch that if you are feeling or sensing, you know, that you'd like that information, anything coming on perhaps. Some of you, because a full moon is a fruition, a manifestation, a culmination, an ending, a cycle completing, some of you could have just finished a website that you're putting out into the world. Some of you could be saying, I have to trash my old website. I have to trash my way of doing business, because the 3rd house is also like where we are freelance. We do freelance work. Some of you could be releasing a vehicle or a device or getting a new one. Changing your mindset, changing your inner narrative, rewriting, scripting. This is an ascension full moon. This is asking us to go, inviting us into a portal of the next dimension of who we came here to be. And I'm really feeling this strongly as letting go of any imprint, any messaging that we got as children that was, for those of you, anyone that went through something difficult as a child, which a lot of us did, you know, somebody who was mean, somebody who was abusive. I hope that wasn't true, but a lot of us experienced that. Somebody, you know, anyone who was less than supportive, and that was very much a part of our either past life or childhood. Usually they're very similar, those two. This full moon is really encouraging us to step into our power, release the pain that's associated with that. And often it's very unconscious, but it will probably be brought to our conscious awareness during this full moon, so we can release it, we can lighten our emotional load, and we can soar into our that next thing, whatever the next thing is that you want to do, be, or have. And because this isn't always an ending, sometimes it is something coming into fruition. It could be like you're starting a podcast, or you're teaching something, or you're writing something. And, you know, the axis of this full moon, it's happening on the axis of the 3rd and 9th house. The sun will be in the 9th house of expansion. So Sag, the 9th house is associated with you. Expansion, seeking, new philosophies, new belief systems, feeling more transcendent. That could be part of this full moon experience for you as well. So let's see what the cards have to say. I think this is going to be a gorgeous full moon, but I also think that we are in a process of, like the card that Capricorn just got, transmuting pain. We're in the process of that. Not all of us, but some of us are. Or you could have felt that before this full moon. This is a really dynamic month, August. I have a separate video for you on the month of August. It is a very dynamic month. We are really being activated many times by Uranus and Gemini. That is your opposing sign. You feel that energy, most likely, especially if you have planets or points in the early degrees of your sign, Sag. So let us pull a card for you now and see what the cards have to say for you. Sag. Your card is, the Crown Games, right use of power. So to me, all of the gold is Leo energy. There is such royalty here, right? Talk about abundance. It's gold, it's gleaming, it's sparkling. But the Crown Games can be that we're in our heads, right? The hands over the head. I'm in my head. I'm in my intellect. I'm trying to be in power. Maybe we're using old methods of being in our power that, whether we know it or not, we're not. We're on some way trying to manipulate another person. And I know that word has so much heavy negative connotation. But manipulative doesn't mean you're bad, right? Or evil. It just means that you're trying to make things work for you, and that you're not skilled at making them work in a way that is more you being in your full power. And so even if it's not that, what this card is saying is this full moon may call you into an experience, may have a spiritual setup, call you into an opportunity to wield your power in a way that is clean and clear, that is in alignment with your integrity. And one of the things that will help you with that, Sag, during this lunation is that Mars in Libra is trining both Pluto and Uranus, saying, first of all, Mars and Pluto says right use of power, but also Mars trining Uranus says there are other options. There are other ways around this. There are other ways to get your needs met. So my advice to you is to use if something isn't going well and you feel like you're being blocked, if you feel like your power is being blocked or someone else is trying to wield all the power, ask the divine to show you other options, other ways of getting your needs met. And so you can stay in your integrity and feel really good about everything and not get enmeshed or re-enmeshed in karmic soul contracts that are meant to be completed. Beautiful Sag, if anything I shared with you resonates, let me know in the comments below. I would love to hear. Scorpio. Beautiful Scorpio. Scorpio, you're going to experience this full moon in Aquarius, which is a big full moon, galactic, super activating, positive and more challenging transits going on, as I share in part 1 of this video. Everything you need to know, including how to best navigate the energies, I share there. But you're going to feel it specifically if you have 17 degrees of Aquarius in your 4th house. This is based on the whole sign house system. You will feel it in your 4th house, 17 degrees of Aquarius. 4th house is associated with your home, with your family, with how you were conditioned as a child. We all received conditioning from our environment, from the people who raised us, all of that. Also our ancestors. This is the ancestral line, is where we feel that in the 4th house as well. And you could feel it in your 10th house of career as well, because the full moon is happening on the axis of the 4th and 10th house. The sun in Leo will be in your 10th house, transiting your 10th house, and the moon will be transiting your 4th house. So what could you feel? An ending, a culmination, a manifestation, something coming to fruition, something ending from your life, leaving your life. You could feel this either in your career or in your home life. A full moon is often when we say, I've had it with this. I'm done with this. It could be, I'm done with this house. I'm done with this water heater always breaking down. I am done with this person that I live with. I can't live with this person anymore. Or I really love this person and they're going to move in with me and I'm so excited. It could be both super positive, and it can be where we lighten our load by cutting ties or cords to things that aren't working for us anymore. So any of these things could be true for you. Those are just a few examples. There are other examples. We could say the same for a career, for life purpose expressed, because the 10th house isn't just career. It's also how you express your life purpose. It's how you spend your time. It is your legacy. It is retirement or semi-retirement, if that's where you are. So this could be a full moon that feels like a reckoning, where you're deciding, can I stay in this job anymore? Can I do this career anymore? You could be feeling this very strong pull to align with your passion, to align with what brings you meaning and fulfillment. Some of you, if you are in that zone, I know so many people retire early these days. It's very different from when I grew up. You didn't have this fire movement where people are, and tell me if this is resonating with any of you, I'm curious. The fire movement, people retire in their 30s now. I know I sound very shocked, but it is like, it kind of blows me away. I'm very impressed. I'm not saying that we need to retire to be happy. I think there's a lot of ways to retire, and a lot of people do what we call semi-retirement, which is they leave a job they don't like or a career that doesn't work for them anymore, and then they move on and they do things that really light them up. They take on a vocation, right? And that's part of what people in this fire movement want to do as well. So anyway, lots could be moving or shaking for you internally, if not externally, Scorpio, in this realm of home, family, and career, life purpose, meaning, passion, fulfillment. Okay, so let us pull a card for you now and see what the cards have to say. I'm also getting a message right now as I shuffle. Don't be afraid to let something go if it's time. And I know that our human self, our ego, will start saying, but you don't have this, you can't afford it, you can't do that, you're too old, you don't have the right, whatever it is. But before you give airtime to that part of you that says you can't, remember that Mars during this full moon is trining Uranus and Pluto. And Mars trine Uranus is like, there are options, ideas, ways to work with what your heart wants that you may not have considered before. So stay open and ask the divine to bring you new ideas, workarounds, solutions, opportunities. We have to say yes first, right? You don't have to, you can say yes to my heart. I want this. I don't want to do this job anymore. I don't want to live in this same home anymore. I want to move. I want to remodel. I want to build. my own house. You can say that without knowing how it's going to come about. You don't have to know the how yet. And you can change your mind. You can change your mind, Scorpio. So don't feel that you have to, by saying yes, you're putting yourself on the line. Unless, of course, you sign a contract with someone where that's a total different thing. Okay. And even sometimes we can get out of those. Okay, Scorpio, let's see what the card has to say for you. Your card is, ooh, so perfect for a 4th house full moon, which is connected to your ancestors, ancestral wisdom. I get so excited when these cards are so in line with the house where the full moon's happening. Lay of the land, ancestral wisdom. What do you see in this card, Scorpio? I love it when you guys are getting your own messages, right? I'm sharing what I see, but you're getting your own message. So if you want to share in the comments what you see, but what I see, first of all, is a very lit up moon, obviously, full moon. All of the red, to me, that is Aries energy. It's very instinctual, Aries energy. Aries energy, and that's of course not where this full moon is, but we are getting an opposition from Mars to both Saturn and Neptune. And Aries energy is the fire of desire, the passion of our heart, the passion of the physical body too. And some of you have wisdom from your ancestral line that you may not be aware of that you are meant to tap into, that can help you get a lay of the land, that can help you to know what's next for you, because this person is celebrating. They have their arms out. They're feeling quite exuberant and quite alive at the top of the mountain. It looks like they just got someplace they want to be. Or maybe this is significant and resembling, representative of you getting to the top of the mountain. But this is definitely an invitation to tap into your ancestral line, ancestral wisdom. Maybe that means ancestral healing for some of you. If any of this resonates and you want to share, let me know in the comments below. And I'm also being guided to look at the number 34, which reduces to a 7, which is your divine connection. It can also be writing. The 7 energy invites you to connect with your poetic channeling self, to let the divine channel through you. Maybe that's automatic writing for some of you. Anything you want to share or claim, let us know in the comments below. Libra. Hello, beautiful Libra. Libra, we are going to have Mars in your sign during this full moon. That's a big deal because Mars is opposing Saturn and Neptune. And if you have any planets or points in the very early degrees, you will feel that opposition. So go back and watch the first part of this video where I break that all down for you and give you tips for moving through that energy. Libra, you're going to feel this full moon in your 5th house of creative expression, your connections with children, or your own inner child. It's the house of inner child delight. It's also the house of love and romance. What does this mean? It means that some of you are putting a creative project out into the world, or you're culminating one. You're like complete with one. Maybe you've been wanting to do something for some time now and you're finally like, I have been pressuring myself to write this book for so long. I no longer have the desire. I am putting this project on the shelf. It could be something like that as well. Or it could be, I am now committing to write this book. Love and romance. A relationship could be blossoming for you. In the 5th house, it's true love and romance. It's where the 7th house committed partnerships begin. They begin in the 5th house of love and romance. It's also the inner muse, what lights us up. That's why children are here as well, because children are associated with birthing something, right? They're associated with joy and lightness. And this is also the house of freedom and adventure and fun, comforts, pleasure, Libra. That's what you're being invited into during this full moon. So a lot of times when we have a full moon in the 5th house, we are going on a romantic date, or we are hanging out with kids, whether they're our own or someone else's kids, or we are really getting ignited creatively. Or we're saying, okay, this is done. This is over. I'm complete with this, whatever that project is. Now, this full moon is happening on the axis of the 5th and the 11th house. So the moon is in the 5th, the sun is in the 11th. That means that in the 11th house, the themes there also play into this. And the 11th house we associate with friendships, with alliances, with support, with hopes, wishes, and dreams, financial gains, long-term financial gains. This is the world card in the tarot. It is something completed. That's the world. But also the world is my oyster. What do I want next? What would bring me fulfillment? What is the current dream of my life? That's also the 11th house. And a 5th and 11th house axis full moon is always asking us to tap into our creativity, our social networks, make sure that the places that you frequent, if you do any sort of meetup groups or community involvement, that it is in alignment with your energy now. Also social media, how you're doing your social media could come into play. Or if you don't want to do social media at all, just the idea that we have any sort of online presence, whether it's like, what I do as a YouTube channel, but it can also be like, that you get on Facebook because you have a lot of friends on Facebook and you like to share photos and things like that. Those could be themes that come up for you during a full moon like this as well. And again, this full moon wants us to be more authentic. I mean, it's supporting us to come further into our authentic creative expression. And to stay true to your heart and your dreams, because that's the 11th house. Friendships could end. Friendships could end. No, I'm not saying all friendships. A friendship you could realize, that this is done. Or maybe you've been going to church somewhere and you say, this is not in alignment with me anymore. You could have put a lot of energy into an online platform, and that could be shifting or changing for you. Okay. Now, Libra, I'm pulling a card for you. Libra. Your card is, I love this card, Skywriting the Fates. A lot of people are going to have a fated experience during this full moon. Why do I say that? Because of the opposition from Mars in your sign, Libra, to Saturn and Neptune. And that brings in karmic, also known as fated energies. Skywriting can be you writing out what you most want. Skywriting can be you staying true to your heart. It can be you doing automatic writing or journaling. It can be you scripting. Or it can say it's written in the sky. It's written in the sky. It's fated. It's going to happen the way it's going to happen. But I always get a really good feeling from this card. You can tell me what you feel. It's 49, which reduces to a 4, which is structure, rules. 4 energy is, kind of like the 4 corners of something, the foundation of something. And it's often connected to the analytical mind as well. But it is foundational. So something foundational could be shifting in your life for the better. It's always for the better, right? The planets work for us. They are showing us what is next in our evolution. You're being pulled forward by your future self into the next greatest version of that's aligned with the vision of what you want to create. Beautiful Libra. If anything that I have shared with you resonates and you want to share with me in the comments, I would love to hear. Virgo, hello, beautiful Virgo. Virgo, you're going to experience this full moon in Aquarius in your 6th house of daily work, wellness on all levels, optimal health, spiritual, mental, emotional, and physical. This includes your work environment, coworkers, your relationships with, supervisors, and also, what you eat and how you exercise, basically how we take care of our bodies. Pets fall in the 6th house as well, and also your lifestyle, your schedules, your routines. How do your days roll? Do they feel good to you? Have you set up your days in a way that works for you, or does it need some fine tuning, or for some of us it needs a big shift, and for others, we can make a small change. But Virgo, the 6th house is already in the big zodiac. It's associated with your energy. So it's, in a way, it's a place that I feel most of you would be quite comfortable. It's opposite the 12th house where the sun will be. And that's the 12th house is where we get illuminations, truths. A lot of times things come through in our dreams, liberating insights. So with a full moon on the 6th and 12th house axis, you could really be activated in terms of your vibrational frequency can be raised up. You can shed an old skin. You can release a conditioned imprint from childhood. Optimal wellness. My eyes keep going to the words optimal wellness in my notes here. And that tells me that some of you, this is an up-leveling full moon. This is what we call an ascension full moon. We're in the portal of the Lion's Gate. We are in the portal of the eclipse. Eclipse is coming. It's a potent full moon. And so you could be raising the bar of optimal wellness. You could also be releasing a habit. You could be, this is where this house, the 6th and, or this axis, the 6th and 12th is often where we detox something. We release something that isn't healthy for us. And it could be a work environment. It could be a way that we're thinking. It could be, a way that we escape, possibly. Maybe we watch too much Netflix. I don't know. There's so many different ways we can escape, right? Or we indulge in a certain food or drink or substance that takes our mind off of what's not going well, and then that inhibits our growth. You get the idea. So let me shuffle for you and see what the cards have to say, beautiful Virgo. Or you could be like opening your doors to a yoga studio. You could be stepping into, this full moon could really motivate you to get in better shape. It could really motivate you to start a spiritually based business. So it's not just an ending. There's an ending and a new beginning happening at the same time. And that's all of this year, really, this sort of ending, new beginnings happening at the same time. An old self is leaving, a new dream, a new vision with Saturn, Neptune, and Aries coming in. Okay, Virgo. Something with your health. If you have anything going on that you're concerned about that you haven't attended to, this is the full moon to attend to it. Beautiful Virgo. Okay. I love this card. It's green. I always think of you guys as green, your energy. The Moon Maiden, new beginnings. So beautiful. Check it out. So beautiful. This is one of the prettiest cards in the deck. New beginnings. You see, I think that a lot of you have already, since that Leo, maybe before, but especially since the Leo new moon that we had 2 weeks ago, July 23rd, if you've been doing some shadow work, some inner work, some emotional clearing, I think that a lot of you have cleared something from childhood, past lives, something that was deep. That is lightening your emotional load, that's lightening your energy. And it's bringing you into this place of new beginnings. And I'm looking at this, I feel like she's floating in water. I know she could be flying in the sky, but when I look at this card, and I know the moon is obviously in the sky, but when I look at this, I feel like there's a bit of submerged here because, this is a very kind of fuzzy, soft image, which to me looks like she is submerged. So maybe she's submerged in this sort of floating space. Maybe she's in this luminous space. Maybe she's between worlds. She's taking some downtime. She's allowing herself to be filled up by the divine. And then she's pulled to the surface through this full moon into a new beginning. That's what I see. What do you see, Virgo? Let me know in the comments. I would love to hear. Leo. Hello, beautiful Leo. Leo, you are going to experience this full moon in Aquarius in your 7th house of partnerships. The 7th house is the house of committed relationships, both on the level of business or personal, romantic. It can also be best friends. It's anyone who has our back, we have their back. There's an unspoken or spoken agreement to support one another. This is where the full moon is happening. What does this mean? A full moon in your 7th house can bring up subconscious stuff around relationships. Subconscious, that is often our conditioning. That is often what we're not conscious of. That's part of the full moon signature, as I speak about in part 1 of this video. At the same time, though, the sun is in the 1st house, and the sun is your energy, Leo. So in the 1st house, the sun transiting is you being very often sure of yourself, confident, enthusiastic, excited about what you're doing. And this is what we call an ascension full moon, where we're being ushered through this portal, the Lionsgate portal. We're being ushered through, and that's associated with your energy, Leo. I'm sure you're familiar with that. Also, the eclipse portal has already opened. So this is very potent energy, this full moon, pulling us into forward by our future self into the next, as I think this is a Neil Donald Walsh quote, of the next greatest version of the greatest vision you ever had of your life or yourself. I know that sounds like a lot. That's very highfalutin. I know that. But I say this because this full moon is going to be bringing you front and center, heart to heart, face to face with a relationship, one or more relationships in which you are possibly getting a sense of, we call it a reckoning. We call it awareness, a high awareness. We call it like being fiercely honest with yourself about whether a relationship is right for you or not. Now, this could also be as straightforward as a client ending a relationship, because sometimes client relationships fall in the 7th house too. It could be a romantic partnership that has completed. You're coming to the end. There's a real karmic kind of feeling to this energy because we have Mars in Libra. Libra is a relationship sign. Mars in Libra opposing Saturn and Neptune. That is encouraging karmic endings for any soul contracts or relationships that have run their course. Some of us are going to have people coming back into our lives that were, that we've cut ties to, but maybe they didn't cut the ties yet. Maybe we did, but they didn't. And so they're knocking on our door again, trying to kind of stir things up again, probably unconsciously, so that they can have a completion or an ending. That could happen too. But and that could happen in, your work life. It can happen in different places because this full moon's happening on an angle of your chart. The 7th house is your descendant angle, what's called the DC. And that means that other angles of your chart, career, identity, home and family, can also be influenced. So Leo, my question for you is, what's up for you in relationships right now? And what do you want to complete, take to the next level? It could be like some of you may be proposing or getting proposed to during this full moon. That could happen too, because full moons are manifestations. They are the end of a cycle. They are the completion of a cycle. That could be happening. What do you want to see happen? Or you could be creating a vision. You could be releasing past imprints of relationships. If you're not in relationship right now, or you want to have a better relationship with someone you're in relationship with, you could be asking your partner to go to counseling with you. You could be asking someone to go to mediation with you. You could be, working on a relationship or creating a vision for one that, is brand new for you, is different from what you've experienced before. We just had a new moon in your sign 2 weeks before this full moon. And that was an important new moon, especially because it made an opposition to Pluto retrograde. So some of you probably experienced something. If you have any planets or points in the early degrees, that full moon, I believe, or new moon, I believe, was at 2 degrees. I could have that wrong. Can't remember every single detail for every transit or illumination that happens. I wish I could. But it was at the early degrees because Pluto, I think, is at 2 degrees now. So if you had planets or points there, that probably got activated. Something could have gotten kicked up for your growth, your soul growth, your evolution, for resolution. And the resolution could happen during this full moon if it didn't 2 weeks ago. So Leo, It's an important full moon for you. Let's see what I've been shuffling for you. Let's see what the cards have to say for you. Leo, your card is the Unmarked Trail Revelation. You are going to be receiving a revelation. Maybe you already received one. When we have a Pluto transit to our energy, as happened during the Leo new moon 2 weeks ago, July 23rd, around that time, when we have any kind of Pluto aspect, and we're going to have another Pluto aspect during this full moon that I share in part 1 of this video, Mercury retrograde will oppose Pluto. Mercury retrograde's in your sign. Mercury, our thinking, our thoughts, our revelations. A revelation, a truth come to light, an insight, a moment of enlightenment perhaps, that heals your heart. The unmarked trail. Are you following an unmarked trail? Are you doing something you've never done before? Are you doing something that you don't know? All you have is the proverbial map that's like in your heart, right? This is to me this is your energy, Leo, all green, the heart chakra, led forward by the heart. The spiritual significance of this rock tower, you know, one step at a time, one message at a time, one clue at a time, allowing yourself to create your own trail. Having taken are you someone who is on the road less traveled? Most of us on a spiritual path are, right? Things have happened in our lives that make us see that we're not from here, number one. We're not from here. We're quote unquote different. That's very Aquarius energy, the full moon. But also, you know, we are meant to forge a new trail. We're meant to follow our spirit. We're meant to create a life from what brings us meaning and passion. If anything that I'm sharing resonates for you, beautiful Leo, let me know in the comments below. I would love to hear. Cancer. Hello, beautiful Cancer. Cancer, I have my moon and rising in Cancer. And our full moon, especially those of you who have Cancer rising, but these themes will apply regardless wherever you have Cancer. It's happening if you have Cancer rising in your 8th house. Now, the themes for everyone with Cancer energy are going to be our emotional attachments, where we feel in our power or where we don't. Death and rebirth. There's a skin shedding. There's an old self leaving and a new self coming in. Or this could have to do with your assets, investments, a home, buying or selling. It could have to do with a relationship, deepening an emotional bond, deepening a sexual bond, deepening your sense of security, often having to do with the things that you own that make you feel like often it is some sort of retirement fund or some sort of extra savings account that makes you feel like I've got what I need. I have something like I'm saving for a rainy day. I know that I will be taken care of, you know, and I'm not saying that you have to have all of those things to feel secure. That's different for all of us. We all have our own definition of security and our own level of, you know, what we need to feel secure. But with a full moon in the 8th house, for a lot of you, it is going to bring up potentially unconscious fears that have to do with money and security, or that have to do with a relationship that's very important to you. It can also be clients. It can be money from others. It can be that you're going through a real transformational time right now, that you are like the caterpillar in the cocoon, soon to become the butterfly. You could even feel like you're becoming the butterfly now, because a lot of Cancer people have been doing shadow work, inner work, clearing, you know, for some time now, and you could have really felt that with the Leo new moon. It's happening, this full moon, on the axis of the 2nd and the 8th, and that's finances in general. That's the financial. That's I'm self-reliant. And yet, on a spiritual path, we're not meant to just rely on what does my bank account say. We can feel secure or insecure based on other things too, right? It's not just money. It could be that there's a certain level of shadow in your energy because of what you experienced as a child or in a past life. Maybe where, people were not supportive. In some cases, people were abusive. And so this full moon is calling on us, is supporting us to release any of that shadow, that pain that is keeping us or has kept us from fully expressing who we are and having the energy to create the money that we want, but also any possessions or any kind of, anything that will make you feel more secure in your life. Cancer, and for you, it's often connected to home and family because you are ruled by the moon, and the moon is connected to the mother and connected to home. So it could be that as well. Like for some of you, it could be raising money for a down payment for a home, saving money for a down payment. Or maybe you raise it. I know people these days, they do Kickstarters, they do, there are new ways, I'm saying from the standpoint of that I've been on the planet for a while. Things like raising money for a project through a Kickstarter or GoFundMe, that's another one. Those were things that didn't exist when I was a child. Let us pull a card for you now, beautiful Cancer. This is going to be a powerful full moon for you, and it is really encouraging you to be your most authentic, visionary self, regardless of what anyone else thinks. Saying yes to your heart. Let's see what the cards have to say for you. Cancer. Ooh, this is a good one. The dust devil moving out of stagnation. This full moon is moving us out of stagnation. It's Aquarius. That's electrical energy. The co-ruler is Uranus. Uranus is now in Gemini. Uranus in Gemini is moving us out of stagnation. How do we move out of stagnation? First, stuff gets kicked up. It's the 8th house transformation. Stuff gets kicked up. But it's saying if anything is getting kicked up for you, such as people saying things about you that aren't true. Obviously, this can play out in a lot of different ways. You could get in an argument with somebody from your past can come in, Cancer. Cancer energy is very connected to the ancestral line and is connected to karma. And so Cancer people often deal with, not that we don't all to a certain level deal with karmic soul lessons and all of that, but it could also be because Mercury is retrograde, opposing Pluto, that something karmic comes up, someone from your past comes in, someone says something, or you have an internal, you could have a dream. You could have a nighttime dream that triggers something that kicks up the dust so that you can rise to the level of who you truly are, Cancer, so you can awaken to your love and light. So that you can claim your passion and not let anything else get in the way of that and move out of stagnation into motion, forward movement. Beautiful Cancer, if anything that I shared resonates for you, let me know in the comments below. I would love to hear. Gemini, hello, beautiful Gemini. Gemini, you are going to experience this full moon, which makes a lovely trine to your energy. Air to your air, Aquarius air to your air, very lovely. You're going to experience this in your 9th house of expansion. I love this. I love this. I love this. Higher learning, philosophies, world travel. You could definitely feel activated during this full moon to expand in some way. New scenery. This is also the house of teaching, publishing, podcasting, broadcasting, releasing old beliefs. It could feel like a transformational full moon. You could have an awareness, especially because Uranus is in your sign. If you're being activated by Uranus now and you really feel this, feel free to share with me in the comments below. I would love to hear. I'm definitely being activated and I'm having a lot of dreams that are quite intense, but great. Going through your dreams, writing through them, sensing, feeling the imagery, the metaphors and all of that can be extremely illuminating. And I think this is going to be an illuminating full moon for you. You could say, I'm done with thinking this way. I'm done with, this past of maybe it's a religion for some of you. Maybe it's a different culture that you came from that had certain expectations of you. You could be letting any or all of that go. because full moons are times of release, letting go, endings, completions. You could be ending, completing a learning program. You could have lived in another country and you're coming back to the country that you were from. But it's a full moon that is saying open up to a new beginning as well. So it could be like a revolving door. You're going out one door and coming in another door. This is really bringing up our belief systems though. And because the sun is in your third house during this full moon, it's on this third ninth axis. It is the axis of learning and growth. You're really growing right now, Gemini. Do you feel that? Let me know in the comments. Do you feel like your mindset is shifting? Are you being called to change a mindset? Is something in communication for you shifting? Or are you getting a lot of communications from other people that have to do with maybe a business that you have? It could be new opportunities. If you don't yet teach, you could be feeling called to teach. People could be asking you. And also the ninth house is connected to astrology, Gemini. So let us see what the cards have to say for you. But remember, a full moon is an ending, culmination, fruition, or manifestation. So it could feel like you're really entertaining new ideas, new possibilities, lots of conversations, social time, a good time to be social. Mercury is retrograde. New people could come into your life, especially because Mercury rules you. Old friends could come back into your life. Old connections, people coming through to kick something up so you can complete a karmic soul lesson or a karmic contract with someone. Someone you thought, I'd never hear from this person again. Now they're talking to me because something there may need to be closure between you. Maybe not for both of you. Maybe one of you already had the closure, but the other one is coming back in because they haven't had closure, or vice versa. Okay, Gem. I go through all the aspects, the transits to this that are happening during this full moon in the first part of this video, which is really important because that's how we get a sense of what this full moon's really about for us on a deeper level than the themes that I share with you. 2 cards dropped to the floor while I was shuffling, and when cards drop, that tells me that they're meant for us to look at. So we're going to look at both cards for you, Gemini. The first one is the Will of the Wisp, treasures hidden in the shadows. I always feel this as very Gemini energy, the throat chakra, just because here's the head and the throat, right? And this is like an energetic being. It's a galactic being, or it is, to me, this is like the wizard and the Wizard of Oz talking to you, saying, there's something you need to find out from the shadows of your life. Go look in the shadows. Go explore the shadows. There's a treasure there for you. So it could be that you do some meditation. I've got one for you on my website that you can download for free. When you sign up for my inspirational astrology updates, it could be that is where you unveil a message, or you get a message from the divine. That's the first message. And then the second message is heart, home, compassion, having compassion for yourself, and or for anyone else that's around you or involved in your life during this full moon, can help you to release emotional baggage and feel more at home in your own heart. The heart home is saying that our heart begins within our home begins within our heart. This is our true home. In our heart, everything that we need, everything that we desire, everything that we want to co-create with the universe is imprinted in our heart. And so it's saying start with compassion. All the red reminds me of Aries energy, survival energies, like having our emotional needs met when we were kids or not met, and how that influenced our sense of worthiness and our ability to do the things and manifest what we want to manifest. Some of you may want a new home. Some of you have maybe been looking for a new home. There's a key here, a key. And so this is saying to me a keyhole. It's saying that you are cracking the code. You are finding the key to your home, whether it's an actual home or an inner home. You are finding the key to it through compassion. Beautiful gem. If anything that I shared with you in this reading resonates and you want to share, I love hearing from you. Taurus. Hello, beautiful Taurus. Taurus, this full moon in Aquarius is happening for you in your 10th house of career. Legacy, life purpose expressed. The 10th house is how we want to spend our time. If you don't have a career, maybe it's a vocation. Maybe it is what you would do if time, money, or resources were not at issue. The 10th house is our passion made into something, often where we can make money, but not always. Sometimes it's work we do to volunteer. Sometimes we're retired or semi-retired. And that is where our passion, where we finally feel like we can do our passion. That's true for some people as well. But again, people retire at all ages these days, and often so that they can do something that they really love. If you're not doing what you really love, a lot of clients that I work with, both in coaching and astrology consultations, they aren't doing what they love. They want to do what they love, and they're feeling it. They're feeling the restlessness of that and the desire for that. So you could be in that place too, Taurus. Now with a full moon here, which is on the axis of your 10th and your 4th house, because the sun is transiting your 4th, and that's of course home, family, childhood conditioning, ancestral healing, healing your inner child. With the full moon here, it is kicking up subconscious desires in that career realm that I just spoke about, or retirement realm, how you spend your time. It is asking you, are you happy? You know, with full moons, something usually happens. We feel them in our relationships. It could be a relationship with a supervisor or a coworker or a colleague. It could be a relationship with a potential business partner or a business partner. Usually it comes through another person, our experience of the full moon, or a situation that happens that we weren't planning on, you know, like a car breaks down, something like that. And so for you, the question is probably going to come up. You know, do you still want to stay with this career? Do you still want to stay with this job? Is this project something you want to do? Does there need to be a conversation to iron out some sticky point with someone in your work life? Or same questions could be asked for your home life. Is there any change you want to make to your home? Or is there a relationship with a family member that comes up to heal or to have a conversation or to set a boundary? Boundaries are big during this full moon because of the transits that are happening that I discuss in part 1 of this video. So Taurus, let us pull a card and see, and this is also legacy, the 10th house. So let's pull a card and see what the cards have to say for you, Taurus. Just like all of you're getting a square to your energy from this full moon because it is, because Aquarius energy squares you, and that's tension or pressure, activation. You're going to be, if you have any planets or points around the 17 degrees where this full moon is happening, you're going to be activated into action. Activated into action. How do you like that? You're going to be moved into action in some way. A desire to take action to release that pressure or stress or tension that we feel when the energy is squaring us. And I've said lots of times in my videos, squares are what motivate us. They are the things that often get us to do that thing we've been wanting to do that we haven't done, like a website or you know, to launch a course or something like that. A Mercury will, or it's, you know, we're not always launching courses, right? To launch a new brand, to launch a new wave of something in a business. Or maybe it is to finally make a decision. I am going to retire. I am going to change my career. I am going to leave my job and start a business. It could be any of those things. So Taurus, let's take a card for you and see what the guides want to tell you. Taurus. Sky Bridge, possibility for union. You know what, Taurus? I love this so much. This card rarely comes up for me when I'm choosing cards from this deck. I don't even know if I've ever chosen this card in a video before. So I love this for you so much. So cool. Here we have the full moon. Possibility for union. This could be union with another person. This can be a union, you know, divine union. It can be divine union, right? There are these Wow, it's passionate. Whether it's romantic, whether it's business, it's passionate, or your divine connection. In my book, The Magic of Saying Yes, I talk with you about, I teach you, we could say a big part of the book is helping you to get connected, but not just connected, to partner with your soul, partner with your soul. So that's union too, right? Soul union. And the link to my book is in the description box below if that interests you. But look at how primal this card is, walking up the steps. It looks like the stairway to heaven to me. The fire is burning in your belly, in your heart. The Sky Bridge. What a gorgeous spiritual card. If you want to claim your union, beautiful Taurus, claim it in the comments below. If you want to share what you see in this card, I would love to hear. Let us know. Aries. Hello, beautiful Aries. Aries, you are going to experience this full moon in Aquarius in your 11th house of hopes, wishes, and dreams. The house of allies, the house of meetup groups. This is where we find our like-minded friends. This is any online presence that we have or want to have, social media platforms, promotion, branding, and this full moon, because it's in the air sign of Aquarius, it makes a sextile to your fire energy, and sextiles are lovely, lovely opportunities, solutions. They are, I see a need for something, I have a desire for something, I take a step, I make a call, I ask somebody for help, and I receive. It comes into fruition. So, given this, it's very possible that you are very lit up during this full moon, lit up, excited about a new dream, about something you're doing that feels like what you want to do for fulfillment. The 11th house is where we promote, where we talk to other people about what we're doing, where we do networking. Often, again, it's online, but not always. It can be groups that you meet up with, or a church that you go to. Some of you may be doing some branding or rebranding of a business, creating a website. It's also long-term financial gains. So money could come in for you. Remember that full moons are endings, culminations, but also manifestations and something coming to fruition. Something that could have been started back in January when we had the new moon in Aquarius, or could have been started before that. It could be online dating for some of you. You could meet somebody through online dating, or maybe you did meet somebody, and maybe that's, ending, possibly because it is a full moon, or maybe it's coming to fruition and you're having a date, or you are taking it to the next level. Across from your 11th house is the 5th house, where the sun is in Leo, transiting love, romance, creativity, children. So those themes could come into view as well. Whatever happens for you during this time could have to do with children. Some of you, if you're co-parenting, that could come up during this full moon. You could be going back and forth with your partner. You could be negotiating or renegotiating agreements around co-parenting. Or you could be giving your inner child more airtime. You could be, the 5th house is inner child delight. It's where we're really supposed to, I was going to say, but I don't like those words, where we're really meant to nurture our inner child. I call it the house of inner child delight. So this could be a full moon in which you start writing that book. You write that song. You do something fun just because it would be fun. You sing out loud in the car at the top of your lungs. Yes, I do that. You write poetry. You get the idea. The sun in the 5th house is lighting up your 5th house energies. True love and romance too. You ask that person for a date. Or you've been dating someone and you realize, we're not really a match. We need to have that conversation. Let's pull a card for you now. Beautiful Aries. I know a lot of you are also in relationships already, right? And you're not dating and all of that. So I don't mean to only give this message to single people who are dating. There are a lot of people who are single who are happily single and don't want to date. So many different situations. I can't possibly cover them all. Let us see what the cards have to say for you, Aries. And Aries, I should have mentioned too, that because Saturn and Neptune are in your sign, making a dream real, and Mars is opposing that, you could definitely feel that opposition. Watch the first part of this video if you haven't already for how you can work with that energy, because a lot of you will feel that, and that's not an easy transit going on. So let's see what the card is for you. It is, ooh, I love this card. And I love laughing at myself too. The crossing, initiation. So what I love about this card, it is a very spiritual card. It is saying you are going through a soul initiation. Aries, you might feel that. You might feel that with the Mars and Libra opposing Neptune and Saturn in your sign. If you have any planets or points in the early degrees of your sign, that's where something new is being initiated by you, at least in your heart, if not for real yet. But Mars and Libra is going to challenge that, and that could come through another person that's challenging you. That could come through a karmic relationship or karmic soul lesson that's coming back to be resolved during this full moon. Boundaries, boundaries, boundaries. You are on this bridge crossing. Some of you are. Leave me a comment if you want to share. I love to know if you resonate with this. This is such a magical but intense place to be in a lifetime. This can be a dark night of the soul. This can be, I don't know where I'm going. Something in my life has gone away. Something, it could feel like you've gone through a tower moment. I'm not saying you're going to go through a tower moment in this full moon, during this full moon. You are getting that lovely sextile to your energy, which is very positive and supportive. But this card represents a soul journey, and a soul initiation is when we are shedding a skin and stepping into a new aspect of ourselves. And it is often can feel like you have one foot in both worlds, one in the ethereal, one in this world. And it's not always an easy navigation, as you can see by this narrow passage, this narrow, what looks like a log that someone's walking, that you may be walking over, but you are protected. You have all this light. Your guides are with you. You are being ushered through a portal into a new you, beautiful Aries. If you want to claim your initiation that you are crossing, it's very, very exciting. I absolutely love this for you. Let us know in the comments below. Pisces. Hello, beautiful Pisces. Pisces, you will experience this full moon in Aquarius in your 12th house. The 12th house of it's very close to your energy, Pisces. In the traditional zodiac, your energy is connected to the 12th house. This is the house of completions. This is the house of endings. This is the house of coming full circle. It's rest and retreat. It's your inner mystic. It's often where we have some sort of spiritual awakening and a moment of enlightenment, a moment of revelation. A full moon here could bring up messages in your dreams, divine downloads. You could feel like you are going through a spiritual awakening, that your soul is going through a soul evolutionary period that is quite activating for you. You could go through some sort of karmic healing, or meet up with someone or have someone in your life that you're like, this is clearly a karmic relationship. You could choose to create an ending, cut ties to somebody during this transit. Full moon in the 12th house can be very mystical, very illuminating, extremely powerful. Pisces. The sun will transit in the opposite house, your 6th house. Sun in your 6th house is connected to the physical in your life, but it's still your health and well-being. On a lot of levels, the 12th house is our health and well-being, but it's very deep, right? It's very deep. It's the darkness. It's what we can't see. It's the ethereal realms. It's our imprinting in some ways as children, the karma that we brought. You know, and karma, whenever I say karma, people can interpret that as like stuff we did that we shouldn't have done, that we have to, make up for. And I'm not seeing it that way. Karma to me is just what our soul wanted to work with in this lifetime. how we wanted to learn. It can be soul lessons. It can be relationships where we made agreements with other people to come and work with them, clear with them. You know, sometimes those are hard lessons for sure. It can be wonderful things. There can be karmic blessings. It's not all, you know, what our human self would call negative or bad. So the 6th house, though, where the sun is wellness, optimal health, your daily flow for your days, how you can create a lovely flow for yourself, Pisces. Also pets and lifestyle, relationships with coworkers, bosses, all of that stuff. So I think because it's a full moon in your 12th house, I think it's going to be revelatory for you. I think you're going to get a revelation that shows you something or helps you heal something that has a profound positive impact on your life and well-being. The words well-being really stick out because of the 6th house energies too, but really this whole axis is an axis of well-being from a deep spiritual place that then ripples out into the physical, right? And some of you could be working on healing something during this time, something physical. Or maybe you really want to change your lifestyle, or maybe you're getting a new pet. Okay, Pisces, let's see what the cards have to say for you, because remember, this is not just endings and, ooh, a card just flip. It's not just endings, it's also something manifesting. It can be for some of you. And the flip card is the Wall. This is a very spiritual card. Some of you have just come through an obstacle, or there's an obstacle that you're clearing during this full moon. Look at this card. To me, this is so ethereal. The whole card is light. What I see in this card, you know, there's a lot of different ways of interpreting this card. What I see is a stage. I see curtains to the stage. I see a spotlight, and then I see an audience. But when I look closer, this audience can also looks like it could be tombstones. It looks like it could be like pieces of cement, or it can be seats. You know, it's not completely clear. So this is very much open to interpretation, but what I see in this card, especially because it says the Wall and obstacles, is that if I were to create a story, a narrative of this card, I would say there's a part of you, your spirit, that wants to showcase something, this stage, that wants to express, that wants to shine this light. But maybe there's an obstacle to fully expressing. Maybe there's an obstacle to feeling confident in yourself, because the 12th house full moon can bring up doubts. The 12th house is connected to self-doubt, self-sabotage. Is there anything in your life, and it could be very subtle, it could be unconscious, that comes to the conscious light that has been keeping you from shining your light more brightly? The guides and angels are with you. That's also this light here. You always have someone at your side supporting you from the ethereal realms. But a wall is ready to come down. You've come a long way, Pisces. You have healed or cleared enough that a wall has already recently been brought down. The obstacles have already been cleared, or you are clearing an obstacle during this full moon. If anything that I have shared, or you want to claim that all obstacles are cleared, in the comments, I would love to hear anything you want to share. My beautiful friend, thank you for joining us for the Aquarius full moon. Thank you for giving this video a thumbs up, a like. Thank you for commenting. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for subscribing to my channel. When you subscribe and comment and like this video, you really help support the work. It is important for the algorithm to feel this support so that it puts this video out to more people who love astrology. So thank you so much for that. If you would like to do an astrology reading with me or a coaching session, go to my website, check out the testimonials that other clients have shared after working with me. For astrology readings, we can do a heart's desire, a life purpose, a natal chart, a relationship harmony reading. I also offer 90-minute astrology consultations for those of you who want more time and you'd like to get a little bit of coaching advice on one or more areas that are really up for you right now. I love meeting you on Zoom. It is my absolute joy. And for those of you who book, I very much look forward to our connection. As promised, I have a free gift for you, and that free gift is a soothing guided meditation, beautiful for this full moon. It will help you to connect with your unconditional, loving source, with divine love, with your angels, with your guides, and also to receive a gift from those on the other side, those who support you. So if you'd like to get that free gift, if you'd like to get my free inspirational astrology updates, go to my website, sign up, and you will get that instant download right away. My beautiful friend, let me know how you are feeling about this full moon. Any thoughts that you have to share? We would all love to hear. And until my next video, I am sending you all my love.